Here we are, podcast 1. Jack.
Ted.
Cade.
Welcome to Radio Lab. Kidding. This is our first Onewheel podcast. We haven't done a podcast before. Please excuse us if we're awkward, we don't know what we're talking about, or not entertaining. But today we're going to talk a little bit about first-time riders. There's a lot of people that are getting pints, never ridden a Onewheel before. So we wanted to talk a little bit about our first riding experiences, as well as some of the tips that some of these people could be useful to them.
Things we wish we knew.
Things we wish we knew. That's what we should call this podcast. Things we wish we knew.
That's good.
So I guess I'll kick it off, and I'll just talk quickly about the first time that I ever rode a Onewheel. So I was in Las Vegas with Kyle at CES, and I'd worked the show for 3 days, speaking the virtues of Onewheel with Kyle before I'd ridden it. And he wouldn't let me ride it because no one could figure out how to ride it except for him. So finally, after
Are you talking
potentially after a beverage or two, day 3 of the trade show,
This is V1
we had
days,
just
though,
been
right?
covered by all of the major outlets in the world. Very exciting time. Kyle finally let me ride this dang board, and I embarrassed myself. And here I was trying to get a job, trying to get hired, and could not ride the thing. Hopped on it once, just like did that 3 more times, and kind of like had to sort of bow out in a way. This is pretty embarrassing.
The technology wasn't where it is now.
The technology was not where it is now, but it is a comeback tale. Now I can ride Onewheels just fine, and it's it's soaking everybody else. So, I know yours.
I don't know yours.
You want to hear mine?
I want to hear yours.
It was my job interview back when I was a young intern.
Mm-hmm.
I was nervous. I remember I had actually a button-up shirt on and slacks. And I'm looking for the spot. I don't know the Wrigley building. I don't know the layout. Jack's like, oh yeah, just come around. I'll come find you. Flip-flops, very casual. Let's ride. So I hop on it. And he's giving me the pointers. He gives me the mock demo. Yeah, it was a totally new experience for me. I actually hadn't even seen Onewheels before
That's right.
I got the
That's
But you crushed it.
Yeah.
You were good immediately.
Yeah. And then Jack's whip out the phone. We got some actually cell phone clips.
That's right.
We filmed some
Day one.
If you're trying to come
Day
shoot
one,
with
you're
the
getting
Onewheel,
the
you
phone.
I
gotta
can
learn
film
how to
cell
ride.
phone.
I'll be able to film, I think.
That's how it works. You
That's
gotta
so funny.
Throw them into the fire.
No, that was before the vertical days.
Yeah.
Vertical Revelation was
Right.
months later.
Cell phone clips are still key
Mm.
to this day. My first time was we had a Onewheel in our college house for about 4 years,
Mm.
and it sat in my buddy Dylan's room. And the only time we ever rode it was after a few beverages, and we try to see who could get the fastest from the living room hallway to the kitchen.
And this is why we're here today, because we're here to tell you
Yeah,
don't do
that.
anything that Ted
That's
does.
not it. And the fastest we got, we had the V1. We got it to 12 miles an hour. Well, actually, I rounded up. It was 11.7 was the record. And I took out the washing machine, a dishwasher, and I had to get that replaced. So don't ride in your kitchen, for one. But that was the first time before I knew anything, any technical specs to it, nothing about pushback, none of that.
Mm-hmm.
And then Brant bought a Plus off Craigslist, and we started riding together, and I still then had no idea about pushback, and I was like eating crap all the time, and just I had fun because I could ride it out and stuff like that, but they had no idea about how the board worked. And then we did our what's that called? Like almost like the vlog. Remember when I did that?
Yeah. Your
What do you call that?
job interview.
In my interview,
you
yeah, I
sent
sent
in
in a video.
I remember
right.
I'd always see you in that parking lot. I'd be coming back from lacrosse practice, riding to that
Yeah.
parking lot with you and Brant.
Yeah.
And you guys would always chirp at me.
Me and
Before you
Brant,
knew each other.
me and Brant did a video cover letter. That's what
right.
it was.
Right.
Yeah. And here I am sitting at this table.
Well, I think it's interesting because, Cade, your first experience was with me. So you knew, I told you what you needed to know about the board, and you immediately got it and were great
Yeah.
from the beginning. Ted, you had
Zero.
You came from no understanding.
I've never even seen anything before, and then all of a sudden in my living room, I was like,
And
well,
I feel like, quite honestly, like the world is a lot more closer to where you are, where it's like, I have no idea what this thing is. I kind of maybe know what it does.
Yeah.
I definitely don't know how it works, but I'm just gonna send it.
And you don't know how to safely.
You don't know how to
ride
stop. You don't know how to do anything.
You don't know how to get off it.
You don't know how to get off
the
it.
scariest part.
Yeah.
So I think that's why we're here today, to make more of the world more like Cade and less the world like Ted.
Yes.
Well, cheers.
At the end of the day, you're still having fun. So.
So, cool. I guess you ordered a pint. It's coming to your door next Thursday. You don't kind of know how hard it's going to be. You don't know really what to expect, I guess.
Yeah.
What would we say? What would you say? Sort of like the learning curve. What should people expect, I guess, when they're getting a new board?
Well, I think the best thing to do is first, before you hop on it, like educate yourself of how the board works. And I saw a lot of people on the DMs like unboxing them, and they're so excited. They're ripping everything apart, everything that says like the pre-ride instructions, just like rip it all. Like, I get it, you're excited, but in order to safely ride it and to have the best experience on it, definitely read the instructions, watch our tutorial videos, and learn how to ride before you step on.
Take that extra 10 minutes when you get it to learn it, so your riding experience is
Exactly.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. Read that stuff, because some people here put a lot of time into all that literature.
Yeah, Brent would be happy to know if you read the instructions.
I would love to see an unboxing video where the guy carefully removes that and reads the whole thing to the camera.
First unboxing video to read all the instructions to the camera wins the safety award.
Yeah.
Which is a huge deal around here at Future Motion.
Yeah.
Custom helmet.
That'd be my, like, even too, and like teaching everyone, like I taught my mom, Forrest Ross, and everyone how to ride it, and like being there to help someone, like you've always stressed to us, like for the first time demo experience, being that lending hand offers so much support and like confidence in that first rider.
100%.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of people that just don't have all the information or don't have someone there to help them, that try it for 15 seconds, don't know what's going on, you don't have the best experience, and then you're like, oh, this thing's not for me. I feel like there's a lot of people that could be having life-changing times that just, the first 30 seconds, like, didn't
they feel unsafe and this, I'll never be able to do this.
Exactly.
In reality, you spend 5 minutes with it.
So I guess to take away from that, starting out, you should try to bring a buddy, a friend, a family member with you for that first time. Have someone to hold, give you a hand. Mm-hmm. It's going to make you feel more comfortable. Right. It's going to make your friends more comfortable, that you're not just out there learning something new on your own.
You can hold on to like a wall and come up to level and feel that balance, and then figure out that dismount, whether you're doing heel lift or you're doing Simplestop. And that's cool too. The only thing about holding onto a wall is that in that situation, your weight is on something, right? So you're sort of like, in a sense, already off balance to a degree.
Yeah, right.
Which is cool. You can get that muscle memory of that, like, come to level, coming off. But it is more helpful to have a person, because like they're there when you need them, but they're not when you don't need them. Yeah.
Training wheels, just for the first.
A little bit. Yeah, I mean, I guess in terms of like how hard is it? So it's a spectrum, right? We have people who hop on and are immediately amazing, right? There's like definitely some of those people in the world. And the thing is about it is that like riding one wheel is really intuitive once you actually, like, it's more of a process of getting rid of all of the stuff that you don't need to be doing. Like, you don't need to try too hard. Yep. You don't need to be stressed out. Like, once you kind of like let it happen, it's really easy. And some people just can tap into that right away. I would say the majority of people take 5 minutes. There's like a 5-minute process where you did it once, you like were wobbly, you whatever, like you're getting a feel for it before you start to put it together and figure it out. There's some people that need a little bit more time than that, but like we've done thousands of demos. Everybody can do it.
Everyone can do it.
Everybody can do it.
In my personal demo practice, I always tell people, just breathe. Like, as soon as they come up to balance, like, relax. Because when you're fighting the self-balancing, it's actually working against you.
It's,
so true.
It's kind of like that in Forgetting Sarah Marshall when he's doing the surf instructions. And Keon, what's his guy's name? Where he's like, do less.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
100,
less is more.
Do
100%.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Do less is the biggest thing. You get people who are looking right down at the board and they're like trying to jujitsu this thing. And like, and
Kunu. That's it, yeah.
And that is exactly what you don't want to do. You know, you want to be looking. I think breathing, taking a deep breath. You watch the shoulders drop. You watch people relax. So huge. Then looking forward. Don't look down. The people are looking down, trying to control that situation. It's so much better. Look forward. And do less and think less. Like the less that when I find I'm giving a demo and this person's like, figuring it out, and then I ask them a question about like their dog or what they're doing tomorrow.
Just takes
and they just start like cruising, and it's because you're not thinking about what's happening.
Yeah.
You're not trying to do too much because the board is bouncing you. Mm-hmm. So when you try to balance the board, that's when you get those wobbles. Mm-hmm. So for any out there that are feeling a little wobbly in your first rides, that's because you're trying to balance the board, but it's trying to balance you. So just let it just do less.
Yeah.
Let it do the work.
And it's also that, but also when you're trying to steer with your feet and your ankles, and you're not like looking where you want to go, leading with your shoulders and your hips, and kind of like flowing with it more. Totally. But if you're like really on your heel and toe hard at the very beginning, that's when you're gonna have that wobble. So, like, pick your line and then like dip your shoulders and your hips into it to like you can draw nicer, smoother turns starting out. Right. And then once you get more advanced, then you can get your heels and your ankles into it a little bit more.
Right, but any wobble originates in the ankle. Yeah. Whenever we're giving demos, future motion test pilots are trained to watch the ankles with laser focus because any instability starts at the ankle. So if you just I keep my lower half of my body completely still. Like I almost do not move my legs at all, really, when I'm riding. Like I'm fully leaning into everything. I think about my shoulders and my hips, like you were saying. And because it's so sensitive. Like for those of you at home that haven't ridden one yet, like you'll see you don't need to muscle this thing around.
Oh, not
like
at all.
This thing is it's more like a water sports thing than like I suck at surfing. I shouldn't say that, but I've been told from really good surfers and stuff like that it's more like that, where you don't like you're not ever gonna do like a super drastic like.
Again, less is more. You know what I mean? And I think the biggest thing too is after the first 5 minutes, you might be comfortable on it, and that's where I first took my first tumble. Was 5 minutes. Oh, I'm good on it. Try to haul as fast as I could, and that's something you definitely don't want to do because that's going to leave you in a world of pain.
I think there's a graph chart somewhere in the world between experience and confidence, and there's this dip that as soon as you get a little bit more confident and feel comfortable, you want to go as fast as you can, and that's like your first fall will be at that moment.
Right. I feel like in the beginning of your riding experience, you actually are more qualified than you think you are. You know, like you look at it, you're like, there's no way I can do that.
Yeah.
Actually, you totally can, right? In the middle, like when you're 50 miles in or maybe 20 miles in, you think you are more experienced than you actually are.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like you figured out the basics. Nice. Okay. That doesn't mean that you need to go like race your friends in the kitchen.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Not to call
Save yourself a dishwasher.
That's right.
Right. Push back, super important. That's the board telling you that it's being maxed out. It's literally pushing the rider back.
Yeah.
If you haven't felt it before, it's like a strange new sensation. So don't just be really cautious when you're starting to push that top speed. Mm-hmm. Once you start to feel that nose of the board lift, you got to lean back. You got to slow down.
Yeah.
Super, super important. And then dismounts. What do we think about best dismount practices?
Just like now when we do all the demos, of course we've in the past taught everyone the heel lift, but now since we have Simplestop, that alleviates that whole first rider like trying to lift up their heel while trying to keep their balance, while trying to be like on something completely new. Mm-hmm. But also too, don't be afraid to jump off with both your feet.
Yeah, sure.
And that's something that everyone needs to comprehend. And I think sometimes too, people, especially if you just bought a brand new board, no one wants to drop this board down and scratch or whatever. But
board's gonna be fine.
Board's gonna be fun.
Plus, people do. You know, I like at a happy hour with all of our company. We were out with some of the customer service folks, and to them, like the idea of hopping off with both feet was so scary.
Yeah.
But it's so low key. It is so fine. Just a tiny little bunny hop with both feet at the same time is so manageable for everybody.
Yeah.
And if you are in a pickle, if you are in a, you know, for whatever reason,
It's
it's such a good,
I'd
safe.
say when I'm like filming and riding, I'm almost always hopping off with 2 feet because I know for sure, like this is how I'm gonna get off, and it's gonna work every time.
Yeah.
Right.
Not.
It's like that pocket ace that you always got on deck.
It's the ejection seat.
Yeah.
It's the ripcord. It's the ripcord. But yeah, I mean, Simplestop's great. You know, obviously we did a video about it. If people want to know more about how to do that well, check that out the slower you do it, the better, and keeping your center of gravity really over the tire. I just rode a pint without Simplestop, and it was weird.
Yeah.
I like wanted it. I tried to get off outside and like had a moment.
I think that a lot of people are gonna sleep, especially those who are experienced on the one wheel. I think they're gonna sleep on that Simplestop technology, and they're gonna be like, "Oh, I've ridden it forwards and backwards forever. Like I don't need that kind of dismount." But it is so nice.
It's really
to have
nice.
Simplestop, and
It's
now
really
like I don't think I would want to ride without Simplestop.
Practice. I would say on the dismount, practice. Like it's a muscle memory thing. You know, there's really nothing else like the one wheel dismount.
Yeah.
And it is like the riding is easy. Riding one wheel is intuitive. Once you learn to do less, for all you that are like, I've tried it, it's not easy. If you know you get over that hump, you stop thinking about it, you relax, you look forward, you know, think about the future. I know it sounds ridiculous, but when you think about the future and your sight line is the future, and you keep your lower half still, just let the board do the work. That all comes into place. That dismount's the most technical part. Muscle memory. There's where you put your hand on the wall, put your hand on a railing, do it 5 times, do it until it feels, until you hear that click. Like there's this very small click that happens, and when you get it, you can feel it in your bones.
I think, and while learning the dismount, I think standing against the wall and learning how to stand basically still on the board without rolling either direction is going to help you tremendously.
Totally. Totally. That's the hardest part.
I think so.
Yeah, staying
Should
still.
we also talk about like first person riding it, like all the different riding modes you have to choose from?
Sure.
And where you should start from there, and like how you're going to feel the differences between those, or
We might want to save that for podcast 2.
ooh, that's true. That's like next step.
We're 15
But
minutes.
if you were to recommend someone to start on a shaping mode,
Right.
what would that be?
Personally, I always ride. Are we talking pint? Or
yeah,
Exar?
let's do Pint.
I like Pacific.
Pacific.
I would learn in Pacific too.
Okay.
I don't think. Yeah.
There you go. Jack Mud says ride in Pacific. First time.
Yeah, it's a good all around shaping in my opinion. But yeah, I don't know. Any other high level thoughts
I
for
don't know, I
people
think
out there
that's-
that are getting their boards right now?
I mean, for all of us doing all these demos, I think that's the most important thing.
Mm-hmm.
that
I guess
we always translate to people is
I would say that we've all given a lot of demos.
yeah.
And it is really like one of those riding a bike for the first time things where you can be demoing someone and they just like aren't getting it really. You know, you're 45 seconds in, which feels like a lifetime at that moment. And all of a sudden they latch on to maybe one of the things that we mentioned in this show here today. And like you just see that switch flip.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden like their body understands, you know, and like at that point it is you realize at that point like it is so intuitive.
Yeah.
So I guess I would say if you're watching these videos, we just shot a cool video where we went out to the beach and just found a random person to try to give people like an idea of what it's like to.
And she was awesome right away.
She was so good.
Yeah.
She was so good and super cool. But I would say if you don't get it right away, there's not something wrong with you.
No.
You can totally do this.
No need to go to eBay.
yeah. You're gonna find that moment where it makes sense.
Yeah.
And hopefully one of those things we mentioned today will help you, but also just
don't get discouraged.
a little bit of practice. It's the easiest board sport in the world.
Oh, for sure.
You know, if you like when I learned to snowboard, that's like 3 days of being on your butt, you know,
Yeah.
or 2 days or whatever.
Yeah. Cold conditions.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here you could be in the comfort of your living room
Or your kitchen.
No, I'm kidding. Yeah, don't do that. But no, I think that's pretty good.
I guess take it slow at the beginning. Learn how acceleration and braking works and how it feels to be shifting your weight forward and backwards. Stay off your heels and ankles as much and try to steer with your shoulders and your hips. And have a friend with you. But also don't get discouraged, because just like any new thing you're learning, it takes a little time. You're not going to be amazing right away, but
And that's the fun of it too.
I think so.
Like, I you know, it sounds corny, but whenever we go do demos, I thoroughly enjoy being with people for their first time they're learning Onewheel, because how many days in your life do you get to actually try something totally new experience?
Yeah.
Like, not that often, you know. And so we get to go out and share this totally new experience with people, and like watching them learn this thing and watching them sort of like throughout that process to the end where they're like, their eyes are glowing and they're going to go home, they're going to sit down at the dinner table and tell their family, like, I rode this crazy thing, holy smokes, you know. So yeah, learning is part of the process, and honestly I think part of the fun. I kind of sometimes wish that I could go back to figuring it out for the first time, you know?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's essentially what all these people are going to be at now. Like, people just order their pint, they're going to start riding it, and then all their buddies are going to start coming around. And
Totally.
You're going to
be
that
a good friend.
Yeah, you're going to be that person demoing all your friends. You know what I mean? So you
make
get
sure
to
your friends have a good first experience.
And don't race them.
And wear a helmet.
Please wear helmets.
Gosh, please.
Yeah.
Please wear helmets.
All right. Well, that was a good session here today in the Onewheel marketing room. We hope that this was useful for you guys out there. Maybe if you're into this, subscribe. We do lots of cool video stuff. We do lots of experimentation, much like this little session here today.
On a whim. Let's film a podcast about
On a whim. Podcast 1. It's 2019.
We're looking for name suggestions as well.
Yeah. Drop in a comment.
And subscribe, maybe.
Yeah. Well, thanks for tuning in. We're
Cheers.
signing out.
Almost missed my mouth.